We're going to pull that there because we've got a live event taking place right now. That's the independent challenger Allegra Spender speaking after her vote.
And they want to see those reflected in Canberra. I think this is a great opportunity. And lastly, I just want to thank all the volunteers. It's been incredible. We've got 1,200, we clicked over to 1,200 volunteers, and I feel like every single one of them are out there today doing an incredible job. Thank you, guys. They have been absolutely amazing. And this is about a community movement. This is about the community working together and coming together about what's important to them. So thank you so much today.
In the event of a hung parliament, you've been asked this many times, but today is the day. Yeah. Who will you support in the event of a hung parliament?
As I said, I will, through the parliament, I will vote on issue by issue. If it comes to a hung parliament, I'll consider the numbers that are on the day. So whatever, if it's 75, 65 or more even, I'll consider issues on climate and integrity. But I'm going to reserve my right to vote issue by issue, because I think Australia is best governed from the middle, and if you have middle centrist independents who are making a difference and bringing the balance there, that's better for our government.
Okay, so will you name your price for support then?
No, I said I will negotiate on climate and integrity. They're really clear on those, and we'll come down to those if we're in the event of a hung parliament.
Can you negotiate with Scott Morrison though? We know that Zali Steggall, for example, has said she'd be more likely to negotiate with someone else that was leading the coalition. Can you negotiate with Scott Morrison?
Look, I will negotiate with anyone on the party. It's not up to me to determine who's the head of the party, but what I will be doing is negotiating on those values and making sure that those values are represented in Wentworth.
What's the feedback on the group been like?
It's been incredible this morning. I have to say, it's been absolutely incredible. And people are saying, look, I've had a number of people have come up and said, thank you so much for standing and thank you for giving us a real choice. And that's what people want. They want choice in their elections. They want choice about who really represents them, not having just a party representative in this election, but it's actually having a community representative in Parliament.
My fear, if I were maybe in your shoes, would be that, the narrative of the climate independence has been a big one at this election. People kind of get swept up in it, it's kind of a bit trendy maybe. But then at the end of the day, at the last minute, they go into the box and they say, I'm going to stick with the major parties. I'm going to stick with what we've already got.
Look, it doesn't feel like that. I've got to say, it doesn't feel like that on the booth. I think it's going to be tight, but I think that people are really, are really seeking change, and they're seeking change in terms of how we are represented, and both in Wentworth, but actually around the country. People are disaffected with the major parties, and I think that really, really shows.
I'll do one more.
Yeah.
Look, in the last few days, Simon Holmes' Court has there have been quite a few stories about him. There was the confrontation with Jane Hume on the polling booth. He's been tweeting a lot. Would it help if he shut up a little bit? Because, as someone said to me, the more he makes it about him, the less it is about the community.
Look, I think the community is really clear that I'm standing in this area as an independent, and I think that's what they're really looking for. They're looking for someone to represent the values of this community, and that's what I'm seeking to do.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on what you will do for people in Wentworth?
Look, I think that I think the national agendas, absolutely, in terms of climate integrity, a future-focused economy, and also the decency of our community. And so that will be things like how I vote every single time. I'll vote for climate, I'll vote for integrity, I will vote for an economy that is focused on long-term productivity, because that is where our future wage growth is going to come from. And I'll vote on the values, such as the treatment of refugees and the adoption of the Uluru Statement of the Heart. But at the same time, there are issues that are really specific to Wentworth, and I will be seeking to really drive those. That's about public, high school education. That's about youth mental health in this area where there are huge waiting times. Those are the things I will be focused on. That is also about community environmental initiatives and community energy, and those again will be things that I'll be working on in this local area, because that's also what you're doing as you're a representative of the community and help the community really galvanise. And with 1,200 volunteers, I think we can make enormous inroads.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That's candidate Allegra Spender speaking from Wentworth today. She's just cast her vote. Should surprise no one. She's wearing a colours empathy jacket. Look, there's two things I want to pick up on from that, though. When she's saying it's a grassroots campaign, she is running as an independent, but the large bulk of her money has come from a single donor. That is not a grassroots campaign. 1,200 volunteers, a very respectable number, but you are running on that backing. That is a marketing campaign. That is not a grassroots campaign. Second of all, that is a question she absolutely should answer about who she's going to support, because the question isn't, I'm going to vote by vote. We're talking about who forms government. So she has to make a pick, if there is a hung parliament, who she supports to guarantee supply? And that's a question every single independent should be telling us.
That point there to guarantee supply, but you know that there's the reason why they're not doing that. They don't want to isolate, a certain block of voters being from, those who don't like Scott Morrison and those.
Thing, though.
For sure,
it's not in the interest of the voters.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 points I wanted to make.
Sure, and worthy points too.